Great. Hello, and welcome everybody. Let's let some people trickle in. I can see the numbers already going up, so people should start to be trickling into the webinar now. I'm Katie, part of the platform engineering community team. Regular viewers are probably expecting to see Sam, but today you have me, which is fine because I'm equally as excited about the topic and the guys that we've got from Port, which we'll introduce in a second. So just as we get going, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. We are streaming live on YouTube, and the recording will go up of this on our blog tomorrow. So you can always come back, play it back, but great if you're here in real time. If you are here in real time, feel free to pop into the chat. Where are you calling from? What are you most excited about out of this session? Have a think about maybe some questions as we go through as well, because we will have time for some question and answers at the end. You can just pop those in the chat or in the Q&A box, which you'll find on your Zoom panel. So come on in. And then I guess I'll just give it another couple of seconds for these last few people to trickle through. And just check that we are live. Yes, we are. Great. Well, then I think with that, it's a couple of minutes past the hour. I will hand it over to you, John.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate the intro. So yeah, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining. I'm John Crowley, technical PMM here at Port, and I'm joined by Roy.
Hey everybody, I'm Roy, Growth Product Manager, helping new Port users to get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Roy. So today we're going to run through a couple of slides and talk about building with AI for the platform. Then Roy is going to jump into the Port platform and take you through a couple of use cases, and then we'll save some time for Q&A at the end. So with that, let's jump right in. So what we're seeing when we talk to customers and in the market in general is, org started with DevOps, productizing efforts, these efforts with platform engineering. And as AI gained popularity, they wanted to infuse some of those processes with AI. So they started adopting coding assistants, things like the Copilots and Claudes of the world. This ultimately led to, experimenting with AI agents for things like AI SRE, infra updates, security, you name it. But what they really want to get to is this future state of AI native engineering that is fully autonomous. So as they go through that journey, suddenly in the middle, something happens as they start scaling. And we see that as agent sprawl, aka agent chaos. So the appetite has really moved well past writing code with AI. Teams are looking at everything on the left, the incident management, the security triage, et cetera, and asking, why is any of this still manual? Agents can now act across the whole SDLC and take a task end to end, not just suggest the next line of code. So every team has their list of toil, so their own grunt work, their own version of the thing on the right, and they're not waiting to be offered a solution. They're building one. So with AI and vibe coding, building the thing really stops being the hard part. And anyone can realistically describe what they want and get something that works. So now the question engineers are asking is, if I built it, why can't I run it? So a quick example from one of our customers on their agentic journey, dLocal. So they're using agents to auto-resolve 45% of engineering tasks across their SDLC. And what they've seen is they're already experiencing a 20% boost in developer performance. So you can understand why more and more teams are going to say, give me an agent so I can eliminate my toil and not have to, wake up at 3 a.m. to deal with an incident or something like that. So, before you get to that state of AI native engineering, there's a pattern that we keep seeing. So the demo works, everybody's really impressed, and then the agent takes 4 months to reach production, or it just never gets there. So, the underlying problem is, the agent doesn't have your standards, which compliance checks to apply, who has to approve, which repo, et cetera. That isn't in the model that you're using to build that agent. It's really in your heads and in your wiki. So, the agent doesn't have any awareness of your stack right now, whether there's an active incident going on, what the security scanner just flagged. It's really just shipping blindly into a live system. And, it doesn't know your environment setup, your dev, QA, staging, prod. It's obvious to you, but really invisible to the agent. And it doesn't know who owns any of this, not whether just a human approves, but which specific human. And at the end of the day, none of this is missing because the agent is bad at its job. It's really missing this information because nobody gave it to the agent. So let's talk about 5 things that separate an agent that demos from one you'd let in your production. So the first requirement is unify the context. Now, most people hear context and think retrieval. And realistically, that's the easy part of the problem. But context is everything your org knows that the agent doesn't. And there's a lot more than just the code base. So things like what exists, who's responsible for it, who to go to when it breaks, your team structure, who's on what team, what they own, which changes are theirs to make. For integrations and dependencies, what talks to what, and what breaks downstream when something changes. And now most teams can assemble some version of this, but if you stop there, you get an agent that really only knows where everything is, which is good. But the next part, standards, are really the difficult part. So things like release best practices, development guidelines, org standards, approval requirements, all that information that is living within your team's head. And connecting an agent to your systems is really an authentication problem that is for the most part solved. It probably could be improved, but it's pretty much there. But whether the agent acts in line with how your org actually releases software is a different problem, and I would say almost nobody has solved it. So an agent can have perfect credentials and still ship something that violates every release convention that you have, because nothing or nobody ever told it what those were. And this is the layer that lives in people's heads. It's the thing that a senior engineer knows that a new hire doesn't. And if it stays undocumented, that agent is going to permanently act like a new hire. And at the end of the day, the reason to fix this is, first off, accuracy. Well architected context is going to make your output correct, but it also cuts token costs because if you stop shipping your entire stack into every prompt, that's real money at scale. But accuracy is the argument and cost is the bonus. So that's what agents need to know. Requirement 2 is what it's allowed to do. So most teams build the agent first and then the guardrails around them second. And that order is why so many of these die between demo and production. And the reason is partially attributed to review load. So if your only control is a human reading the agent's output, the system scales exactly as far as that reviewer's attention. So 10 agent actions a week is fine, but scale that to 400 and review becomes rubber stamping. The control has to move upstream into the path the agent is allowed to take before it acts. So there are 8 boxes on this slide, but it really drills down to 4 questions. So the first question is, what does it know before it acts? Context in how your orgs actually operates. What can it touch and with whose access? What rules does it have to follow? And can it improvise around them? So your conventions in a fixed path instead of one that the model is going to reinvent each time it runs. And when something goes wrong, who approved it and can you reconstruct it? So approval on the plan, not the output, and an audit trail that you don't have to ask the agent for. So, at the end of the day, you already enforce most of this on, the human and, engineering teams that you have within your org. But the issue is that the guardrails get written after the agent already has credentials. Whereas guardrails should be scoped, standardized, approved, and logged before the agent is going in and interacting and touching production. So third requirement, the agent needs judgment, and judgment has to be built in, not prompted for. Platform engineering, SRE, security, your own conventions, that expertise has to live somewhere rather than in whatever someone typed in a prompt that morning. And to get that senior output from a prompt, the person writing the prompt has to already know what that senior answer looks like. So, on the platform side, the prompting works fine. Platform conventions, you're an expert. But it fails the moment that a backend team tries to build their own agent to accomplish a platform task, which is the entire reason you're trying to implement agents and open up this ecosystem to other teams outside of platform. And you really can't prompt your way past an expertise gap. The cost shows up as review load. So whatever judgment the agent doesn't have, a human is going to supply on the other end. So if you're shipping agents with no embedded expertise, you ultimately kind of get intern level work at senior speed. And the difference is right there at the bottom of the slide. So 50 people building against the same embedded expertise produce output that looks like it came from one team, whereas 50 people prompting produce 50 different answers, and all of them route back to the platform team. So one of those scales past the platform team and the other one stalls at it. So fourth requirement here, humans stay in the loop, but what really matters is where you decide to put them and whether that ultimately leads to the outcome that you're expecting. So, review before execution. The cheapest place to say no is while the agent still has a plan and no commits. So people who, inherit finished work from an agent are going to approve it far more often than people who see the actual intent of the agent. You want to make the plan an artifact. So readable, specific, rejectable, logged. A chat a chat message just asking, should I proceed, isn't really a review. And there's nothing to point at and nothing to find, 6 weeks later when someone's, asked who approved this and why and what does it do. You also want to gate by risk. So if you're approving everything and, you've essentially just built a rubber stamp. Because nobody's going to read that 50th prompt of the day from the agent asking to get input. You also want to route to the correct owner. So, for example, a change to a payment service is going to go to the team that owns payments. So that's your ownership context from requirement one. And it's really the difference between a human gate and a queue that ends up in the platform engineering team's backlog. So at the end of the day, you want to approve intent, not output. Fifth requirement, maintain control through agent management. So you want to centrally manage while remaining agent agnostic. So, what we see is teams adopt essentially whatever, their vendors are shipping them. So, Bedrock comes with AWS, Copilot can come with GitHub, Cursor, might come with, a developer or engineer's laptop. So we want to be able to manage these agents. The requirement is neutrality, not consolidation. Also on the agent management front, you want to produce reusable catalog items. So, workflows, dashboards, skills, all these things that the agents can use and trigger across your org, that's going to allow you to maintain standards and organization. And the last call is, you really can't govern what you can't see. So most orgs can't answer how many agents are running, who owns them, what they can touch, or what they changed last week. So shifting gears a little bit, where does Port come into this picture? So Port has built out capabilities called Port AI Builder, which is a vibe coding experience for building platform capabilities. And it allows teams to create and operate agentic workflows using natural language. So, we largely built this because, we're seeing how AI has fundamentally changed how software is built. And, devs and platform teams alike want to create AI agents that, eliminate toil, remove bottlenecks, and improve software delivery. And, at the end of the day, the responsibility falls to platform teams to enable these builders across their org. So AI Builder comes with, built-in platform engineering expertise. So it thinks like your most senior platform engineer. So it's going to know security, DevOps best practices, pipeline design, architecture, data modeling, and of course, Port's own constructs. It sits on top of the Port context lake. So it takes into account your stack, policies, RBAC, existing services, and that relationship between all of them. So, when a human prompts, asking for something like an agent to autonomously resolve incidents, it knows it's talking about your production incident. And it understands this production context in the connected tools. So in this example, PagerDuty, It understands that you use PagerDuty and that it needs to be, integrated within this agent to accomplish the job that the user is prompting for. The Port platform gives Builder guardrails and standards. So the output is not just a template or a POC, it is production ready right out of the gate. And Builder isn't fire and forget, which I think is really important because you want to maintain that humans are in the loop along the way as this agent or this AI is building something on your behalf. So Builder is going to create a plan that can be reviewed and iterated upon. So humans stay a loop along the way. And after that plan is reviewed and approved, it moves into build mode, where it's going to move through each phase of its plan, which is versioned and saved for traceability. So Builder can also use agents that already exist in your org, so it's not creating that agent sprawl. Allows you to more easily manage your agents and understand what is actually operating within your stack. From the user side, we see AI Builder as useful for both platform engineers who want to just interact with the platform and build in natural language, but also on the other side, development teams, who want to build platform capabilities like agents, workflows, dashboards, or scorecards in natural language, but also in a reliable, scalable way without introducing AI risk and adding more to the platform team's backlog. So I'm going to pause there and we can pass it off to Roy, who's going to take us through the Port platform and show you some use cases.
Thank you, John. That was great. I'll start with a quick overview of Port. Basically, all the good things in Port, including the context lake, start with data sources. Basically, your data sources are the tools that you use in your software development lifecycle. To add a data source, it's quite easy from the user interface. You can choose over 50 integrations that we have, and also you can add MCP servers native. If we don't support that, you always have an API option, but basically we have most popular tools. All right, and once you added your software development tools, basically you created your data model, which is the context lake. This is where agents get the information, how your teams work, the connections between pieces of information between your tools. So you can see here there's a service and a repo and a pull request. If we wanted to go and hide them and look a bit closer, we can see how we are adding a bunch of them, and you can see the connections between each data source. Cool. And once you have your tools connected, basically you can create any view and dashboard that can help your team basically get visibility across your development tools. And that also enables you to get a shared understanding on, let's say, incidents that agents are working on. So for example, here I can show you an incident agentic workflow. We've got how the workflow works, the list, the incident dashboard, and a few more other information. You can go and create any widget to add to that dashboard. We've got heaps of them, even a custom HTML if you can't look what you want. Cool. And then we have the workflow management. So basically, once you got your tools, you defined your data model, the context lake, you can start creating workflows to boost your SDLC. We'll go and cover some workflows later. You also got automation, which basically is a simplified workflow and a self-service actions that allow your team members to, let's say, spin up a repo without needing to ping their DevOps. But these self-service actions also can be used by agents alike. Cool. And we've got the agent management. Basically, this is where all of your agent artifacts live. You have the AI agents, skill registry, and MCPs. And last but not least, we've got the governance section that gives you visibility into your users, teams, scorecards, which are really cool feature, basically allowing you to run standard tests for your services, for your workflows, and basically define a threshold that you want them to pass, and you can even score them with rules. All right. So let's now let me I so I recorded a few short videos to quicken, shorten the time that we're gonna need to use and build stuff with the AI builder. And I can start now. The first thing I wanted to show you is how we're gonna create a skill registry. Basically, skills are usable instruction sets that load automatically into AI agent as context. When you create skills import, they are instantly available across all of your agents. But before the AI builder, creating a skill registry was really hard. You needed to work the data model to create a lot of configuration. Uh, and now with the AI builder, it's quite straightforward. So I'm just going to put the prompt on the AI side chat. And once I added the prompt, basically it would ask me some clarifying questions. And the questions are like, you've got your DevOps or SRE friend next to you, asking where you're gonna get the skills from. Is it in a GitHub repo? And what kind of data do you want to start with? So you can answer a few questions, and then basically you're provided with a plan. You can view the plan, the steps of it. And even if you're not sure and you wanted to get a little bit more understanding, there's about the plan where you get an overview and even an architecture diagram. Once you're ready, we'll click the build, and we build the skills registry. Basically, we have a bunch of skills, and these are all the skills that we have in our organization. We can drill down, let's say, for a specific skill. We can see a few details and even the skill description in an MD presentation. And if we wanted to understand a little bit more information, we can even see who's the owning team and what kind of group the skill sit under. Now, let's say I wanted to go and create a dashboard to show me how are my teams using the skills. So again, just with the AI builder can create you any dashboard that you would like. And we'll go over it. We have a dashboard page with a few widgets, basically telling us how many skills we have, the skills group, total invocations, that's how many times those skills are used by the agents, skills used by teams, and other really interesting information. All right. Now, previously, also adding a data source could have taken you a bit of time, but the agent can definitely help you with that as well. So in this example, I just let it know in simple language, I want to connect Jira. Ask me again a few clarifying questions, what kind of connection I'm looking for. Basically, I want to add Jira to my data model. Once I click hit, I'm getting basically routed to the authentication page of Jira, selecting my site, and that's it. It's connected. I can go to the context lake section, see Jira inside, the data sources is updated, and we're good to go. All right. So we talked about, let's say, simpler uses of the AI builder, but you can even take it a step further. I'll show you how you can create an agentic workflow with a few lines of text. So we have our guide section in the port documentation, and we can choose a workflow, any workflow for our guides. I recommend you to check them out. They're quite cool. Each guide has a prompt you can copy and paste to your agent at the top. And this is the agentic PRD workflow. So the workflow works as follows. Take a newly created ticket, run a PRD agent to review and improve the description, and a few additional steps that we'll skip for this demo. So I take the prompt and again, I'm asked by the agent a few clarifying questions, such as how would I like to be notified when a new agentic run is triggered. I basically answer this, and you can even click other if there's no answer that suits you, and you can freeform your answer. So let's look at the plan. Again, these are the steps. You can either revise or build. I click build, and now we have a workflow, triage ticket with PRD agent. I'll go enter the workflow editor page, and you can see it's quite a sophisticated workflow, has quite a few steps. Let's go step by step. So this is the trigger. This is the trigger node, and you can see there are two triggers. One is a webhook, the other is a self trigger. You can even have a scheduled time, so a cron trigger. Once the trigger is on, you run the agent run the PRD skill, then writes a PRD suggestion. Then there would be a human review, which I would either approve or not approve. If I approve, the description, the suggestion would override the older description. So let's see it in action. A green box means that step, that node is already executed, and the blue one is where we are at, and now we have a human review. So I'll go ahead, see the description before. You can see it's quite lean, and this is the suggested description based on a skill that I can create and you can create and edit it. So you have your own requirements, how a description should look like. And once I like it, I can let it know, looks great, and the ticket would be approved. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And I hope you enjoyed the demo and John's talk, and we'd love to get your questions now.
Looks like there's a question from Mira.
Is that me?
Yep, we can hear you.
That's funny. I'm not Vera, I'm Steve.
Oh,
Vera's forwarded this webinar to me. So as I'm listening to you guys' webinar, right? So we're in the process of enabling AWS AIDLC into our daily development workflows. And we've actually integrated port directly into that with a bunch of actions. What struck me in this is the skills registry, right? So we're building these skills in the AIDLC. And my thoughts are around, well, how can we leverage port as the single point or the single on-ramp to the AIDLC for all our developers to use? That would include that skills registry. So I'm contemplating how we can leverage port more for like those capabilities versus how we're leveraging it today. That make sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. Basically, I think the first step is to connect the data of where your skills are at the moment.
Terry,
Um,
they live in in our GitHub enterprise.
yep,
That's that's where they live today.
that's quite straightforward. Once they're in, basically the AI builder inside Port can help you create a skill registry.
Hmm.
I would then recommend you to encourage your developers to install Port MCP server, so they would have MCP the Port MCP server in their IDE. So when they run their agents even outside of Port,
Hmm.
they would be able Port would be able to help them with all the skills that they need. So that would kind of like serve as a gateway for them. You can even set the permissions per team, per group, if you want certain skills to be received by a certain team or the other. Um, there is a guide. There is a guide in the guides page specifically for the skills registry, and that should walk you step by step. And there would be a prompt as well that you can put in the AI builder, and it would walk you step by step to build it.
So we're already leveraging the MCP. That is part of like the our README and initial setup for enabling our developers to onboard and start using AI DLC. It's a critical piece today. That's already there. So I'll have to look through the guides to see how we can move this further. To have, the port MCP as the primary on-ramp for everyone. And I'll look through the guides for the skilled builder
Yeah,
also.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. I'd love to connect as well, and happy to answer any questions that you have on a follow-up once you try it.
Okay, Roy. Thank you.
No worries.
Guys, can you guys both see the Q&A box? If not, I can read it out. There's two questions in there, but it's separate to the chat box.
Oh, yeah, I can see I'm responding to Araf right now. Just
Nice.
give some links, but yeah, Araf, I'll be sending those over to you, and I think the broader audience should be able to see that as well. I'm not sending it privately, so I'm
Nice.
pulling up
And
some links for y'all.
perfect. Thank you. And do you see the one before that as well from Harish? How is this different to N8N?
I did not see that one. Roy, do you want to take that one? Harish asked, how is this different from N8N Node Nation?
Yeah, I think we do have workflows, agentic workflows and workflows that resemble a little bit of N8N, but I think Port is more geared for the enterprise. We have a lot of governance features baked. I touched a little bit about scorecards that you can define a certain threshold and rules that each workflow um, should pass before it actually can be run. But also we have audit logs that you get for each run of the agent and a workflow. You get a lot of audit log deep governance features. So I would say the governance and the depth of governance is where we differentiate ourselves from N8N, which we believe is more suitable for, if you're an SMB or enterprise that want to really scale your agentic workflows, if that makes sense. Any other questions? I saw there was a question about pricing. I can just say that you can start Port and sign up for free. And basically you have all the features unlocked. Um, And once you get traction, um, you can contact someone from the marketing to actually get a quote. Depends on your usage, but starting is free and there's no paywall. Any other questions, Katie?
I'm just having a check. I don't see any others. I see that you've replied to Araf. There was nothing else in the chat. So yeah, no, I don't see any more. I mean, there are a couple of minutes left. If there's people still here with questions, feel free to drop them in. But yeah, I guess otherwise we could wrap it up.
It might be a good idea to pop the links to the chat, maybe.
Great.
Oh, I can see another question. AI Builder can be integrated with custom AI models which are specific to org. Yes, so inside the AI Builder comes out of the box. It's with Port. We're using Anthropic model, but you can bring your own models and connect them. There's also a guide for that. I think, yeah, you can do that. There's a guide. Just look in the Port documentation how to bring your own LLM into Port.
Great. I don't see any others for now. I guess you guys are contactable as well. Like you were saying, you'd love to hear from the guys that have participated today. So I guess feel free to share your LinkedIn's or for people to reach out to you guys and carry on the conversation outside.
Amazing. Thank you all.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you all for joining. And Kate, thanks for getting this rolling. I appreciate that.
Of course, and we'll put a replay up for anybody that wants to watch it again, or for those that missed it, we'll publish a small recap with the video recording tomorrow. So you can look out for that too. Thanks everybody for joining and thanks John and Roy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take
Bye.
care. Thank you all.